Join the Cougar Collective today, your home base for all NIL opportunities, connecting student athletes, fans, and business owners. Join the 1890 Club for as little as $18.90. You can also make a one-time donation. And if you're a business, you can collaborate your brand. Also, drink the Old Crimson Legendary Lager brewed by Pike Brewing. Sales benefit the Cougar Collective. Visit cougarcollective.org. Go Cougs! Welcome into another edition of Cougs Corner. It's brought to you by the Cougar Collective, your home base for all NIL opportunities, connecting student athletes, fans, and business owners. And you can join today and supporting student athletes on and off the field. Join the 1890 Club for as little as $18.90 a month. The most accessible route to supporting Cougar NIL growth. You can also make a one-time donation. Also, the Old Crimson Legendary Lager. You go purchase that and drink that. Cougs, all you got to do is drink beer and support the Cougs. Brewed by Pike Brewing, sales benefit the Cougar Collective. Also, Flat Stick Pub, a great place, date night, ladies' night, any night, business, flatstickpub.com. They've got 6 great locations across the Northwest. Visit their website at flatstickpub.com. How about this? We've got the offense coordinator of the Cougs, Ben Arbuckle, on Cougs Corner. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to talk about the Cougs a little bit.
Yeah. Before we get into, we got to cover that overtime thriller was just unbelievable, and look ahead to Boise State and everything that's going on with the team. I want you to retell the story, because I know there's going to be someone watching and listening to this that doesn't know like your story from where you came from, how you got into coaching, and like how you're now here at Washington State. It's a great story. And I think it's a great story for anyone that has a dream to do something, and they hear you tell it, and they're like, you know what? I have a dream of doing that. I'm gonna go pursue it.
Yeah, no, I'll give a quick little synopsis of it. Started off, I played Division II football. I played at West Texas A&M University. For anyone who wants to look it up, I was very average, all right? And you can imagine how good a very average D2 quarterback is, all right? I didn't look like John Mateer running around out there at all, all right? But, no, went from there, got married right out of college, moved to Houston. I got my degrees. I got one in finance. I got another degree in economics. And so I started working for an oil and gas company. And essentially it turned into me just punching numbers. And after about 3 months of it, I said, I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't feel like I'm making any sort of significant change at all. And was like, I need something different. And, there's this website called The Football Scoop. And I had a buddy who at the time was a graduate assistant at Arkansas State. And he said he knew I was living down in Houston. And he said, hey, there's a volunteer quality control job at Houston Baptist University. It doesn't make any money, but I know you hate your job. So maybe it could be your way to kind of get into football. And, I'd never had heard of Houston Baptist before in my life. And so, but looked up who the offense coordinator was. Turns out it was a guy who was from West Texas who, like me, I'm from West Texas. And, I just sent him an email, and a few more things went into it, but one way or another, literally the next day, I was at HBU working there. I quit my job immediately and went to work at HBU the next day. And as time went on, I didn't get paid any money. I was there for 2.5 years and made $0.00 from Houston Baptist University. But luckily I have an unbelievably supportive wife, and she took up a job as a nanny in Houston, and I began driving Uber Eats and just make some extra money on the side. By the end of the month, we had enough money to pay rent and fill up our car with gas, get some groceries, do kind of the essential stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of leisure activity going on after that, but was at HBU for 2.5 years. COVID hit. I had to go make a little bit of money. Now I had to go make some real money, and so was fortunate to go be the offense coordinator at Seminole High School out in West Texas. It's like deep in the heart of West Texas. It's out there. And, got to do that for about 7 or 8 months, was there for the season. And then Coach Kitley went to Western Kentucky University, got hired as the offensive coordinator there. He hired me as his quarterback assistant. And, we were there for a year. We were like the greatest show on turf that year. We were like shattering NCAA records. It was awesome. And after that, he went to go be the offensive coordinator at Texas Tech. Coach Helton, the head coach at Western Kentucky, a good man, he brought me into his office and said, "Hey, Ben, I'm going to make you the play caller." And I kind of chuckled, like, "Come on, coach. Like, what are we doing?" Like, and he's like, "No, I'm serious. Like, I think you're smart. I think you're sharp. I believe in you, and I want you to call plays for the Hilltoppers this year." And I was like, "All right, cool. Yeah, let's roll with it." I mean, and so was able to do that. Had a great year in 2022. Had a lot of great coaches and a lot of really, really good players. And we went out there, had a great year, and then at our bowl game, it was funny. I was actually at the hotel in New Orleans. We were playing in the New Orleans Bowl, and we played on a Wednesday. And Coach Dickert called me on a Monday at like 6:45 a.m. on Monday in New Orleans, which means it was like 4:45 or something here. And he called me that morning. I didn't know who was calling me. I didn't have his phone number. The phone number was from like Laramie, Wyoming or something like that. And, Coach Kitley, my mentor, taught me always answer the phone. You never know who it is. So I answer the phone, and you know how Coach Dickert is. He's like, "Hey, Ben, it's Jake Dickert here, head coach at Washington State. Hey, I'd love to talk to you about, maybe being our offensive coordinator." And I'm like sitting there eating like my, Frosted Flakes or something. And I'm like, like on the phone and like jet out of there, go find me a closet in the hotel to hide in so none of my players or anyone could see me. And then, told Coach Dickert, "Hey, Coach, I'm very interested. I'd love to get through my bowl game on Wednesday and then find a time to, sit down and get to talk to you." And so, we won the game on Wednesday. I drove from New Orleans to my in-laws' house in Amarillo, Texas on Thursday and had a Zoom with Coach Dickert on Friday. And by Saturday, I was the offense coordinator at Washington State, and I've been here ever since. So
that's a story.
Quick synopsis.
That's just a wild story that you landed there. When you were in Texas, I mean, obviously it's Mike Leach, so you know who Mike Leach is. Everybody in Texas knows who Mike Leach is.
Yeah.
And you have obviously and you knew what he did at Washington State, and that connection to Washington State was when you were growing up and you were playing. Did you have any idea that you would want to be a coach one day?
No, I mean, I loved all my coaches from high school, and I loved my coaches in college and everything. But I never thought it was necessarily a path I was going to go down. I've always loved football and everything. But like I said, I got my degrees in finance and economics. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought I was going to go work in a bank and eventually be the president of a bank where I get to go like play golf every day and go hang out with clients and stuff like that. And but like I said, I went down a different path, and it didn't take me long to realize, no, this isn't for me. And I luckily found my niche in coaching, if you would, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's an unbelievable career. I get to be around unbelievable kids all the time, and I get to be around great men, get to be led by a great man in Coach Dickert. And so there's nothing else I could see myself doing.
You talked about your relationship with Coach, is it Kitley at Texas Tech, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Coach Kitley.
He's got to be a major influence on you. Mm-hmm. What other coaches, had an influence on you and kind of led you and pointed you in that direction to, this is something you wanted to do?
Yeah. My high school head football coach, Chris Ketting, he recently retired 2 years ago. He's, a Texas high school football Hall of Fame coach, got inducted actually in July. He's one of the greatest men I've ever known in my life. He was an unbelievable football coach, but one thing I can always say about Coach Ketting is he was always there for me, and he still is to this day. I probably talk to him at least once every week or two, and, whether I ask for it or not, gives me some good advice. And so he's definitely been a huge influence on me. You said Coach Kitley right there. Yeah. I think both of my college head coaches, Mike Nesbitt and Hunter Hughes, who's actually the linebacker coach at Idaho. So it's actually pretty cool. He lives 5 minutes away from me now, but they were huge for me. And, another one is our offensive line coach, Jared Castor. He was the offensive line coach at HBU, and I was the O-line QC there for a year and a half. And so, he really molded me in a lot of different ways of how I coach, how I approach football. And so he's definitely been an influence on me. And, and then the two great men I've gotten to work for, Coach Tyson Helton at Western Kentucky. He's a unbelievable offensive mind, unbelievable person. And a lot of things that I do stem from him. And then these last 2 years, just getting to be with Coach Dickert, the different ways that he has taught me to learn how to look at football different, how to look at being a leader different, I think has really elevated, my approach to being an offensive coordinator to levels I didn't know that I could reach, and it's a group effort in that too with the whole offensive staff. But just everything he's taught me over these last 21 months or so I've been in Pullman has been a massive influence on me and things that I'll take with me wherever I go in my hopefully long coaching career. And so those guys right there have all just been huge influences on me.
What was the, we'll get to Boise State here in a little bit, but what was that game like against San Jose State from an alum standpoint, from a fan standpoint? It was just, up and down. The heart rate was just, it was a bananas game. It looked like, Ben, at one point, you get in after the fumble on the kickoff, you score there. All of a sudden, you're up 18. Maybe now it turns into a blowout to where you don't score there. And then they go right down. It's a 14-point swing there, and then you find yourself down by 14. You think you're going to tie the game. You miss the extra point. They score with 26 seconds left. You go right back down, and then Janikowski hits that 52-yarder. It was the most bananas game I have ever seen. And for you as a coach going through that, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think for starters, you have to mention San Jose State was a good football team. They were well coached and they played hard, and their kids, they fought. And I think they had 100% belief that they could win the game.
Sure.
And so, kudos to them, right? But whenever you think about the game as a whole and you think about us, you're right. It felt like we played 3 games in one. All the different situations that popped up and all the different opportunities to respond to adversity and respond to success, all in that game. It was like a situational dream. You got to work so many things, but I think more so than anything, it just talks to the resiliency of our kids and the trained response that they have. We work situations like crazy. Pretty much every situation that came up in that game, you can bet we've hit it in practice, right? We call it situational bulletproofing, and we've hit them. We hit every single one of those situations in practice. And now you don't expect every single one of those situations to show up in a game, but we've done that. So our kids, we've hit them so many times. It was, hey guys, we know what we need to do here. We've done this before. And I think that just put an unbelievable belief in our kids that, yeah, we have done this before. And they knew how to go attack the situation in the scenario. And so, kudos to our kids, just never batting an eye, like you said, whenever we got down 14 or they scored a touchdown with 26 seconds left, our kids just didn't bat an eye. They stood there. They never lost belief that they could go win the football game. And it was fun. It was the craziest game ever, but it was a lot of fun.
Did you learn anything new at all about your quarterback, John Mateer, in that game, how he handled himself, the ups and downs of it?
Learning something new. I think
or reaffirm what you knew about him.
Yeah. I think you could really see John's leadership shine through. Again, he's a kid who prepares extremely hard. People see stuff on Saturdays, or in this case on Friday, and they're like, man, he's an incredible player, but not everybody gets to see the work that he puts in like us coaches get to see. He was up here till 9:45 last night, and he actually had Zevi Eckhouse and Jackson Potter with him, and they watch film together, right? They try to get ahead on watching film in different situations throughout the week, and they're in there together. And, that's something that doesn't get seen. Nobody sees them out at practice demanding that people deliver their best, right? If something doesn't go right, I mean, he is saying, no, hey, bingo that rep. We have to do this again. Like, we have got to get this right. And if he messes something up, he holds himself accountable. And so I think you really got to see his leadership shine through there. He's an ultra competitive kid. I think that's pretty easy to see. John hates losing. And so, I think you really got to see his leadership, and you got to really reaffirm that this kid is a competitor.
How do you, as a play caller, balance I know how good he is carrying the football and what a weapon he is? And I asked Jake this a couple of weeks ago, and his answer was, maybe similar to what you're going to give. But how do you balance that and just knowing the threat he is? And he's a threat also with his arm too, but he's such a game changer with his legs, whether it's off script or design. How do you balance maybe the design calls? Because at the same time, he's built, he's a strong kid, but you don't want to run him into the ground. You do open him up to injuries. Is there a balance that maybe you and Jake talk about with him?
Yeah, we don't want to just sit here and say, hey, John's going to run the ball 40 times this game. Like that's never just a thought that goes through our head. Now, a thought that does go through our head, and a thought that goes through John Mateer's head, is we're going to do what we need to do to go win the football game, And so there's the fine balance is, okay, because he is a threat right there. He's very efficient on his legs, yes. But the great thing about John is he's highly intelligent. There's sometimes it can be like, oh, he took a bad hit there or something. John doesn't take a lot of bad hits. He's really smart about either one, getting out of bounds, or understanding when to get down, or understanding when to run and when not to run, especially in those off script scenarios. And whenever the design QB runs come up, I mean, it's more so we just see it on film, right? We know we have a very willing and capable runner at quarterback. And so if there's an advantage we can get, whether it's angles on a defense or hats, number of hats on a defense or something, we're gonna try and exploit that advantage, just because it is a way that we believe we can win the game. But you don't have to live and die by it, because I think we have a lot of really, really good football players on our team at running back and tight end and the receiver position, who also can do great stuff with the ball in their hands. And so it's finding creative ways to get the ball to our playmakers and give them operating space to go be successful.
Yeah. I want to go to the overtime. After you guys got the ball back and you needed the field goal, when he throws the interception on that play there, when you look at that, is that something, whatever the play call was there a chance to get out of that? What happened on that interception there in overtime, which gave that ball right back to San Jose State after you guys would just need a field goal to win the game?
Yeah, I need to coach that situation better. Is there something I could have called different maybe or something, but I just have to coach that situation better. It's not on any of the kids or anything. I have to be better in that situation.
Yeah, just aggressive. It's aggressive mentality, right? And is that hard to kind of rein in sometimes?
I think it's definitely an aggressive mentality. We're trying to go win the football game, and so. But again, I just have to be better in that situation.
Yeah, your running back too in Wayshawn Parker. There is an aggressiveness and a hard hitting nature to him. He runs in an aggressive style. What has maybe surprised you about him? Not surprised you about him, just in terms of his ability to carry the football and be really your main running back right now, just in terms of carries.
Yeah, the thing about Wayshawn is, he is a true freshman, was able to have him in the spring and everything. And it was one of those deals during spring ball and fall camp and throughout the summer. You could see that Wayshawn was a good football player. Like, there was zero doubts about it. He's a really good runner. I think the thing that surprised me the most about Wayshawn, it's a credit to the kid, is that the kid has never flinched once. Not one time. I think back to a play, we have a linebacker, Parker McKenna, and Parker McKenna is an old school linebacker, gets downhill, ready whenever he blitzes, he's looking to blow it up. And I just think back to a play in fall camp where bam, here comes Parker, like right down the A gap, and Wayshawn steps in there and didn't back down one time, got the block, and he took a pop with it, but stayed on his feet, got the block. We were able to get the ball off. And it was kind of in that moment, I was like, okay, this kid's not scared of anything. No, this kid's got it. And, just as the season's gone on, I think you've seen tremendous growth in his game in every single game, and maybe little fine details that kind of the outside world doesn't really notice. But whenever you really sit back and watch the film, it's like Wayshawn is getting better here. But the best thing about him, and the biggest surprise to me, was that he didn't flinch one time. Wayshawn Parker is a very good football player.
Yeah. How much you've seen different defenses defend you guys, Ben? Mm-hmm. It's way, in the beginning of the season, you saw what, the earlier opponents did. Washington plays you a little bit differently. You've seen people where they've had that, traditional, I guess, defense, you could say, against an air raid style where they'll drop 8 back and just be like, we'll see if you can find all the spots. And then you guys took advantage of that in the running game. How does having a quarterback that can be mobile and then a running back, and it's not just Parker, but Leo also and Sheldon Baker as well. How does that help you as a play caller defend against different defenses and prevent them from just dropping guys all back and say, all right, you try to find all the open spaces?
Yeah. For starters, add Dylan Payne to that running back list too, because he had an awesome game the other day.
Yeah, he did.
Stepped up, was ready for his moment, and he was great. But speaking in terms of the defenses, the same thing as the offense. We go into each week with a new game plan of how we're going to attack these guys, and ultimately, we have seen a few different things this year on defense, from drop 8 to bring in 5 every play, and so on and so forth. To answer that, it's just the defense, just like they're going to give us their best shot at stopping us, just like we're going to take our best shot at trying to, exploit them and get the ball in the end zone. And so, you always have to be ready for anything, but as far as just, John being able to move and having a group of running backs, whenever teams do want to drop 8, yeah, that's great. Hey, if all the zones aren't there, cool. John will tuck it and run or get down to his check down. Or if they want to drop 8 and play with a lighter box, offensive line, get some movement on those 3 down defenders right there. We're going to hand the ball off to a very, very capable runner who understands our scheme, understands where his eyes are supposed to be and where he's supposed to hit the hole. And so, just having that ability, yes, it absolutely does help.
What would you think? You did something earlier this season. I can't remember which game it was. Maybe it was the Portland State game. I might be blanking on it. Maybe it was Texas Tech. You did something where I think if Mike Leach, rest in peace, would see what you did, knowing what offense you've come from, and from Texas high school football, you lined up in the I formation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think if you could talk to Coach Leach? What do you think he would say to you? He'd be like, Coach Arbuckle, what are we doing? Where did that come from, Ben?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a package deal that we kind of worked on in the offseason, something that we wanted to just expand our Rolodex of calls whenever we get down into that, tight area of the field. I never got to meet Coach Leach. I would hope that if he did see us line up in the I formation, we scored a touchdown, he'd say 6 points is 6 points. And so, but all that deal was we just saw something in the defense where we liked that, and we wanted to put our kids in the best position to be successful.
There was a moment after the San Jose State game. There's an image and video, and you are hugging both Mateer and Emmett Brown. It's a great embrace. People have noted it, and again, that's a conversation that's just between you three. But if you could just share maybe just a little bit of what kind of the message was and what the feelings were. I think a lot of viewers and listeners would appreciate it. To see him and the way Emmett Brown performed, and then to see the way John performed, what made you so emotional when you embraced both of them on the field?
Yeah, those 2 kids mean a lot to me. Emmett Brown was with us last year, and he's an unbelievable kid who loves football, but more importantly, just loves people. And he was a great teammate whenever he was here. He was a great friend to a lot of people whenever he was here, much like John is now. And John's always been that way. But, just knowing the relationship that we had last year in our QB room and everything, and just being able to see them both after the game and I just told him how proud I was of both of them at the same time and how much I love them. And that was the message. Just I'm insanely proud of both of y'all, and just keep on rolling.
Yeah, you could see it. I mean, there was a lot of teammates that came over to Emmett Brown after that game. I mean, he played a whale of a football game, and you're right. That San Jose State team was super talented. I know you're caught up with you guys work crazy hours. I mean, you barely have enough time for your family. I mean, it's probably football, family, and then sleep when you can get it. Do you get a chance though to check in at all to see what Cam Ward is doing, and then do you sit back and go, man, look at that quarterback room last year? Had Cam Ward, had John Mateer, and had Emmett Brown in it.
Yeah, no, Cam's in the same boat. Was an unbelievable kid with a great personality and a great work ethic. And, I do get to talk to Cam from time to time. My birthday was, I guess it was last Sunday. And, he FaceTimed me on my birthday and we talked for about 30 minutes. And same thing. I just told him, I said, man, you're doing so awesome. I'm so proud of you. Just keep on showing up every day. Tried to hit him with a few reminders that we used to hit him with, like, don't get too big for your britches, stuff like that. But Cam's an incredible kid. And so again, I'm proud of all three of those kids.
Boise State, it's a good football team. I mean, they've been a good football team for a very, very long time. Offense, defense. I mean, they're just disciplined and just a solid bunch. I mean, they took Oregon right down to the wire. And boy, a play here or there, and they're walking out of Autzen there with the victory. Defensively, what kind of issues do they present for your offense, and what kind of matchup do you think it's going to be this weekend?
Yeah, Boise State. One, I think I have all the respect in the world for that program, that fan base, how they do things. I think they do an unbelievable job. I think very similar to Washington State. They're a bunch of blue collar kids and coaches out there with a passionate fan base who loves winning. And so, all respect to them. They do an awesome job. Whenever you watch their defense on film, these kids fly around. They play hard. You can tell they take pride in being the most aggressive team on the field. And that's a mentality that's trained over time. That's not just something that happens. So, these kids have an aggressive nature about them, an aggressive mentality. And I'm excited with the matchup that we have because, I mean, it's going to be our aggression versus their aggression, right? And our execution against their execution, and us doing our job against them doing their job. And so, they do an awesome job, and it's going to be just really fun. And it's a great opportunity for our kids to go out there and try to go 1-0 this week.
All right, you mentioned earlier if you weren't a coach in football, you were going to be in business running a bank, and really the only reason you wanted to run a bank is so you could play golf every day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of golfer is Ben Arbuckle?
What kind of golfer is Ben Arbuckle? Ben Arbuckle, whenever he gets to play a lot, is a pretty dang good golfer. I won't lie to you. All right. Ben Arbuckle, when he doesn't get to play a lot of golf, he's a good golfer. He can go out there and hit the white ball around a little bit. But I do enjoy playing golf. It's a fun sport, and so it's fun.
Best part of the game is what?
Best part of
your game is best part of your golf game is what?
The best part of my golf game, I hit bombs off the tee box. I really do. I hit bombs. Okay, my irons are pretty good. My chipping's okay. If I had to say there's a weakness, it'd probably be my chipping. I'm pretty much nails whenever it comes to putting. Like I'm a stone cold putter, but I hit nukes.
Yeah, what are we talking about? How far are we talking?
I mean, easily 290, pretty easy. I would say more like whenever I'm feeling it that day, we're in the 310 to 320 range, but easily 290.
Palouse, what hole? I can't remember. Is it 14 at Palouse Ridge? I think is the par 4. You can carry the short par 4. Does that sound right?
Oh yeah. With the little, it's kind of like a little dog leg a little bit, but yeah, you're right. Hole 14, yeah, I hit 3 wood off that, put it on the green. Yeah. Hole 2 though, I hit driver and it more times than not ends up where I want it to. So okay. Hole 2 is very drivable.
Yeah, hole 2 is dry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, you know what? When I went to school there, it was 9 holes. It was a goat track. It was a goat track.
That sounds awesome.
Not what you guys get to play on now.
Yeah.
That Palouse Ridge is fantastic. One of the best golf courses in the States. Hey Ben, it was great to catch up with you. Appreciate. Maybe we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Good luck against Boise State. Appreciate the time.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on, too. Hey, go Cougs.
Yeah, go Cougs. There he is, Ben Arbuckle. It's brought to you by the Cougar Collective, your home base for NIL opportunities. You can join the 1890 Club for as little as $18.90 a month. CougarCollective.org. Also, Flat Stick Pub. Ben's, he's got the hat on. Flat Stick Pub, Cougar owned and operated.
I do, don't I?
Yeah. 6 of it. You didn't even know that, did you?
I wear it every day,
yes.
so I don't know. It's a little worn now. But
shout out to Andy Largent. 6 amazing locations across the state. Kirkland, Pioneer Square, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. A great place for a date night, guys night, ladies night, large group event. Great for kids, and, of course, great place to watch and celebrate the Cougs. FlatStickPub.com. You can find us everywhere: YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, and of course up at pucksports.com. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event. Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com.